When I bought this VW Hillside Caravaggio campervan, I noticed this bit of kit inside it. Now, at first I thought, this is a kind of awkward place to put anything. But when the passenger seat is swiveled around, it covers it over quite nicely. So what is it? Well, it's a pure sine wave inverter. And I've discovered it can be quite useful, especially if, like me, you have an e-bike and you want to charge your e-bike battery, especially when you're part off-grid, as I am quite often. So what does it do and how does it work? A pure sine wave inverter will transform direct current, that's DC, to alternating current, AC, which can then be used to deliver high quality electrical current suitable for powering all kinds of appliances, from coffee makers to fridges, microwave ovens to, in my case, e-bike batteries. Now, I've been using it fairly regularly to charge my little Bose speaker. It's a 12-volt appliance with about 0.88 amps, so multiplying the two to get the watts, my little Bose speaker is just about slightly under 10 watts, so the inverter's way powerful enough. Pure sine wave inverters are also transformers. They can raise DC voltage to a much higher AC voltage, for example, 12 volts to 230 volts. Now, you can get two different kinds of inverters, a pure sine wave model like this one, or a modified sine wave converter. Modified inverters are cheaper, principally because they use less expensive electronics to produce a kind of pixelated sine wave. Think of it as producing a current that's made up of a series of small steps rather than a nice, smooth, continuous curve. Now, I won't go into a whole lot of detail about this simply because I can't. I don't know enough about these things. I'm certainly not electronically minded, to be frank with you. But at the end of the day, a pure sine wave inverter will deliver the highest quality of electricity, similar to the kind of output you'd expect from your wall plug at home. When using true sine wave inverters in a campervan, you're actually powering the sine wave inverter by connecting it to the leisure battery. Once the pure sine inverter is turned on, it starts to invert the DC energy to AC regardless if a load is applied or not. And when a load is applied, like my Bose charger or my e-bike battery, electricity is pulled out of the leisure battery, energy is inverted, and you can now run your device or charge your device. So what size of inverter do I need? Well, the short answer is this. It depends on the wattage or amps of the application you want to charge. Now, this is a 1500 watt inverter with a surge capacity of double that figure, 3000 watts. My e-bike battery is 650 watts, so this inverter is easily big enough to charge it. Now, so far so good. But what about the draw on my leisure battery? This is something you have to keep checking. And to be honest, I'm fairly reluctant to draw too much power from my leisure battery unless I know I'll be able to drive a bit of a distance the next day to recharge it, or I'm confident of plenty of sunshine to recharge it through the solar panel I have up here. I have a 165 watt solar panel on my van. So what I tend to do is remove my e-bike battery and connect it to the inverter while I'm driving. I switch it on while I'm driving, and that way I'm not draining the leisure battery. It kind of seems to work very well. So I've loaded up my e-bike on the back. I've taken the battery out. and I'll give it a bit of a charge while I drive, so I have a full charge on my e-bike battery when I start cycling. So with those wee jobs done, I'm off for a bike ride and a night out in the camper van, and all going well, another e-bike ride tomorrow with a fully charged battery.
The route today is a particularly beautiful one that I know fairly well. We'll be leaving here the car park at Moy, which is on the Lagan Speen Bridge Road, and we'll go over the hill and down into Strathoshien, and all going well we'll get a wee circuit of Lochoshien as well. It's a fantastic route, and it looks like a nice day for it.
Well, that's virtually exhausted my battery. I'm right down to 1 bar now, so I'll need to get it in and get it on the inverter and get it charged up if I want to do any mountain biking tomorrow. Okay, the e-bike battery is not quite flat, but it's almost flat, so let's just connect it up to the inverter, and then my intention is to drive for a while with the inverter on. So let's just flick it on. You can see, well, I hope you can see the lights. There's just one light coming on there, and then when it's charged, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lights will light up, so pretty low down. So let's just leave that there. I've got a bit of a drive, and we'll see what's going on. And there is quite a useful little display on the top of the inverter here. Well, that's about an hour since I stopped driving, so that's 25 miles or so with the inverter on when I was driving, and that's about an hour taking charge from the leisure battery via the inverter, changing it from 12 volt to 240 volt. And I'm quite delighted at what we've got here. The battery, the Bosch e-bike battery, was almost flat when we started, and now it's on 4 bars touching 5. So that's just in, you know, less than a couple of hours. So I'm quite delighted with that. So I think I'm going to switch it off now, and you know, we'll just see what it's like in the morning. Well, good morning. Yesterday after my bike ride, I charged the bike battery in the inverter, driving for about 20-25 miles or so. I stopped for the night. I put it on the inverter, drawing from the leisure battery for about, well, maybe about another 3/4 of an hour or so, and that took it up to 4 bars, almost 5 bars, so almost charged it. So this morning we drove another 15 miles, and that has completely charged the e-bike battery, so 5 bars already. So all in all, I'm pretty delighted with the performance of the pure sine wave inverter. This particular inverter was already installed in this van when I bought it. So would I be prepared to spend the money to buy one, you know, just from scratch if it hadn't been here already? Would I pay for one? I think they vary in prices between 250-700 quid, depending on the size of it. And then, of course, I'd probably need to get somebody to install it. And I think if you'd asked me last week, I wouldn't have been very sure. But having just spent the past couple of days, you know, using it and charging my battery, then I'm absolutely delighted with it, and I think I probably would. I think it's great, especially if you use an e-bike, and you use an e-bike with a camper van, and you want to stop out overnight off-grid. Now, obviously, if you're in a campsite, you just plug into the EHU and, you know, just as normal. But when you're off-grid, this is a great bit of kit. And I'm quite impressed by its performance over the past 24 hours or so. So there you have it, the pure sine wave inverter. You got all different kinds. I think most of them come from China. But this one seems to be working pretty efficiently. So there you go. I've got my e-bike charged up now. The sun is beginning to shine, so I think I'm going to head out for another day's mountain biking with the knowledge that I have a fully charged e-bike battery. See you next time. Oh, and before I go, if you find that, you know, videos like this helpful, or if you just enjoy them, or if you just like the escapism of it, please consider subscribing. You know, there's a button down below. Press that, and we'll let you know when new videos come on stream. It's good to have a few subscribers. It helps the channel an awful lot. It helps in the, you know, whatever YouTube do to get them out there. So if you don't mind, subscribe, and it'll be fantastic to have you on board.